This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. There's also a wide range of paranatural literature. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. It's about wholeness, unity, balance. These three things are very important to the working class mind. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access to paid health services. It serves platitudes while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to and which costs more than this book, is garbage and would only give you cancer anyway, without even curing your cold or anything. Wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. Though it is important to note, when it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill in the first place. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. How to continue drinking if you're an alcoholic who has destroyed his liver. And there's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Pre and post factum apply. Nothing worth buying.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no! Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime. I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important to you. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be drawn to the books.
She's so tense, it's a miracle she hasn't snapped in half yet.
It's just for decoration. Okay, fine. It's because this place is cursed. Just like Annette said, they don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. It's not just that, officer. We're dealing with something supernatural here. It's the cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Wow, void raves. You have new words.
Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away. Leave the spirits be, so they can return to their slumber.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no paradetective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
You're part Simonese. Oh, it means our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. The hand of fate guides us. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us.
Oh, certainly so, ma'am. I can assure you my partner is eminent in this particular field.
If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
Yes, a malignant entity that lives inside the chimney. It takes the form of a woman. A witch, most likely. She or it must be connected to the curse somehow. Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared.
Okay, but please...
The woman look. The worker is in a deep slumber. Your fingers find their way into the shackle, flicking open its spring-loaded gate. The metal loop holds the plastic ID and a leather-bound pocketbook. The man emits a loud snore. Is he about to wake up? Doesn't look like it, but you never know. Better be quick. You slip the plastic ID card out of the loop and pocket it. The man continues to snore. Just for the record, you look nothing like the man on the document. No, he's looking the other way, perhaps purposefully. You find a black paper note with a woman's profile on it. Seems like this woman lived centuries ago. The note says, 5 real. It feels nice and greasy. Yum yum. Money. Think of all the things you can buy with this. The synapses in your brain fire with glee. The sleeping dock worker has little to say about your actions. He remains silent.
Can I help you?
You see a heavy steel door, the old cobalt paint. It leads to the door.
Yes? What about me? No.
The lieutenant nods.
That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Rêvacholière.
A point of pride to him.
Good. We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me? As a police officer, you must understand that I cannot take you at your word without evidence. Evidence being money. You can't stay here without money. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay. I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure. Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here. I think it's called Roy's Nest or something. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners. A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, this panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities.
Photonic sensitivity is not generally acknowledged by the medical establishment.
I do appreciate it. It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? Oh no, not at all. I guess I haven't had many customers lately, RCM or otherwise.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake. People who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Parolidon. It's a drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
How would I know? I've had to take it, you know, since the People's Pile cleanup. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile, an emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's. A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but... I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump-a-mesque banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. She didn't seem like a policeman. Although she kept referring to herself as a pig. Which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit... obsessive. But I was just happy to get rid of it. And of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everett wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday. looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. I told them I already sold it. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Wait, then it might be true, Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Of course.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. A lot. For the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Yes?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Yet, were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit, below it all.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Rebachol. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station code slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone. which is for the best. The coalition government and the moral intern, nobody. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Ravachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. Okay. There are a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Day.
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky above.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging. Well, you were so hungover that you couldn't keep it down when we approached the hanged man, so we didn't even inspect the body. And there's still much to do at the crime scene too. We didn't search it thoroughly enough. We're both doing our best under the circumstances. Just don't drink tonight, please. As for the interviews, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
He's not saying much on the matter because he thinks you could have gotten more out of Everard.
Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. That's normal. It's best not to give it too much thought. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. Well, and there's still much to do at the crime scene, too. We didn't search it thoroughly enough. It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. I'm just going through the facts. As for the interviews we conducted, and he wasn't...
He's not saying much on the matter.
Claire also helped you... How should... That's not... We didn't... Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41? It's nice shoes, by the way. I like the...
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsuragi's glasses light up as he looks to the sky. 2 glowing circles.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our 2 precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles under his eyes make him look younger, not older.
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Kopo type. Yes, guess what's yours? Okay, just for the length of this short demonstration, please say something that isn't, I'm sorry. Guess, what is it? No, you're the sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? What? Jealous of the sorry cop? I think they'll be fine. Don't worry. They'll be super fine. It'll be totally okay. You can dual Kopo type from sorry to anything. Oh, you know, Apocalypse, Superstellar, the advanced interesting cop, liquid shadow cop. But you're too sorry to say those things. So, here we go? No, you don't. Come on. You'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Stop wasting time and begin the repentance. Wow. Okay. Fuck off. Maybe we were wrong about you then.
Yes?
The fan stands. The switch must be broken because nothing happens. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing, a bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Oh no, Funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Isolus. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. No, you haven't. You're just sleep talking. And the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork, barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Really? Because you feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark. The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's yours. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with these. The chain cutters slip out of your hands as you attempt to twist the faucet into place. Well, you know one thing for sure. You've probably never been a plumber.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here, men who drink beer for breakfast, there's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. A lot of things point to the dock workers' union. The circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Actually, that's not a lot of things. We should have dug up more yesterday. Still, we need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders' Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Can I help you?
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The waterlock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the waterlock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. And he'd just divorced. We hit it off and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia. A diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkled behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod, acknowledging your presence. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door.
Let me handle this. Officer Discotheque? Still wondering if we listen to disco? We don't, by the way. We don't listen to disco anymore.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
Sure. You were curious. I'm not a gardener, by the way. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Beaufort that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everett sent to law school?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
Even though she has excellent control over herself, something moved behind her eyes, in the way she stands, in her face.
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to question these men. Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one.
She looks as if pondering whether to answer or not, but then shakes her head slightly.
Anodic dance music. You wouldn't get it. It's beyond the horizon for you.
She means it's part of the future you won't experience. There is nothing a determined man could not achieve.
No, Not Disco. Disco is undead. I guess it's fair to say you guys have it on life support. I don't care. Let's. Aggressive. You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
So you were spying on us, and now you represent murder suspects. Just dock workers.
Listen, you Moralington lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
Yes?